now transition into our first session, The Invisible Victims, Children in Custody Battles. Matrimonial disputes are deeply challenging, but the situation becomes even more traumatic when children are involved. Often the most silent and unseen sufferers, children can find themselves caught in conflict, affected by alienation, emotional strain, and circumstances far beyond their control, with experiences that can shape their lives in lasting ways. With this important perspective, it is now my distinct honor to introduce Honorable Justice Roshan Dalvi. Justice Dalvi has had an illustrious legal career spanning nearly 5 decades, including 27 years as a judge. She served as judge of the Bombay City Civil Court, principal judge of the Family Court Mumbai, and was elevated to the Bombay High Court in 2005, where she retired in 2015. A respected arbitrator, mediator, author, and educator, Justice Dalvi is widely recognized for her work in gender justice, human rights, family law, and conflict resolution. She has represented Indian legal thought on several international platforms, contributed extensively to judicial education, and authored 2 acclaimed books. Her distinguished journey reflects a rare blend of judicial excellence, scholarship, and deep social commitment. Thank you for being with us today, ma'am. May I now invite Dr. Rakesh Kapur on stage. Dr. Kapur is a passionate advocate for child welfare and the driving force behind the Bamboo Tree Children's Foundation. Through his work, he has dedicated himself to research, awareness, and building support systems that promote children's physical, emotional, and psychological well-being, particularly in the context of divorce and parental conflict. Thank you, Dr. Kapur, for joining us today. I now introduce to you our third panelist, Dr. Sonali Kusum. Please join us on stage, ma'am. Dr. Sonali Kusum is a legal scholar and researcher specializing in human rights, gender justice, and medical legal issues. She holds degrees in law, human rights law, social work, and human resource management, and earned her PhD from the National Law School of India, University, Bengaluru, for her pioneering research on surrogacy laws in India. Her expertise was recognized by the Rajya Sabha Committee on Health and Family Welfare, where recommendations on the Surrogacy Bill 2016 were incorporated into the committee's official report. She has worked extensively with UNICEF projects, women prisoners in Maharashtra, and legal aid authorities, contributing significantly to legal literacy, prison reform, maternal health, and women's rights. A published researcher and regular columnist on legal and public health issues, Dr. Sonali Kusum is widely respected for her commitment to social justice and legal reform. Thank you for being with us today. I request Deepika to join us.
And thank you so much to our esteemed panelists for joining this. Before diving into the session, let me just give a very brief background. When I completed Martyrs of Marriage documentary on 498 misuse, ma'am, I had some screenings where the fathers walked in to watch the documentary and they had visitations at that time. So they were watching the film and I was playing with their kids outside while they were attending to the film. And I had an opportunity to interact with some of these kids. And ma'am, it was heartbreaking. I asked them, how's mama, how's papa, how do you do? And they had just one thing to say, I wish I could be with both of them. That's what kids truly want. And I think that's the most painful reality of our today's times. Dr. Rakesh Kapur would speak about it, but he calls it a silent pandemic. And I think it is, I wanted to, and I still want to, when I completed Martyrs of Marriage, one thing that I committed to myself is someday I will make a documentary on the impact of divorce and child custody disputes on the children. It's still on my agenda and I really want to make it. And I hope this documentary can inspire some people to probably be friends, just for their children. Maybe they are not husband, wife, but they can be friends and they can be parents for the welfare of the kids. And that's where I have my first question to you, Roshan ma'am. What's the impact that you see on children? And you have handled so many of these cases in your practice and as a judge. What's the impact that you see on kids, ma'am? And are there any cases that have left a huge mark on your emotional being, if I would say so?
Thank you for all this.
Thank you.
Yes, it has. And I have written about 5 of those cases, and I think the book that you are carrying.
I was to speak about this, ma'am. Justice
So
Roshan
there's a
Dalvi has
separate
written this
chapter
book. It has beautiful chapters.
On custody of children, etc. In fact, the very first case in the very first month when I was appointed judge of the City Civil Court, and at that time there was no family court. The family court came 1 month exactly after I was appointed. So I was there as a family court judge in the City Civil Court for 1 month. And one case which has not left me was when the father was indoctrinating the mother. So generally we say that all mothers only indoctrinate fathers. There should be Ekam Nyaay even in this. And I have come across at least 2-3 cases of this type, which are very gross, where the father indoctrinates, and whoever does it, we don't really, we all the time say mother indoctrinates because there are more cases of mothers, because the children are more with the mother in our justice system, unlike, say, in the Middle East, where they are more with the father. So the child is actually torn between these people. And just as you said, it used to be the case with my child also. I and my husband were always together. We've been together for 47 years only now. And yes. And
we would love to come on
if you
your Silver
consider-
Jubilee
and if you
celebrations.
consider just dating, then it's 50. Because for 3 years we dated before we married.
Amazing, ma'am.
And when we were sort of, my child was very small, and my husband had that very naughty and nasty habit of asking him, you want to go with mama or you want to go with papa? And he would say, both. And this was just for a Sunday evening or some such thing in a healthy, happy nuclear family. So it is that a child wants both, always. And we, as lawyers, especially because I'm always a person of law, we must have that kind of client counseling. Each one of us can do good to one person at least, a child, where you do correct client counseling. I don't find that among the lawyers most of the time. That is the main cause. And children are really sort of drifting between the parents. I want the custody. It is my child. Like the child is the chattel. It is actual child abuse. Child abuse is physical as well as mental. And this is not only in India. It is everywhere. I am a member of an international group of judges where we have judges from Belgium, Japan, India, Sweden, Scotland, South Africa, etc., etc. And the same thing is everywhere. It may be different in degree, but not in form. And children everywhere are being taken for a ride because it is my child or your child, but not our child. Now, this impact on the child lasts forever. But more than the impact that we are talking about, which doctor will be able to speak even better, I feel that it is that every child will never forget this. What we must understand is, and this I talk to the litigants, you must understand when you are a custodial parent that if you are going to indoctrinate your child, if you are going to alienate your child from the other spouse where the child wants to be, the child is going to remember that. So at least for your selfish purpose, don't do that. Because when the child grows up, he will come back and tell you that you did that. And we cannot tell the other parent wait for 35 years, you will see some ray of hope. We can't do that. You have to give something to that person at that time. And I have written about 2 of these cases where the mother did that and the father was actually weeping in my chamber. I gave him excess rights. Today, 2 daughters who were alienated are living with their father. The son is living with the mother. She's going to the university, etc., and all that. And now this person is my friend. He's on WhatsApp with me. But of course, that is for different things because, that's professional. For my commercial matters and all that, where he is also involved. This is a closed chapter and it's been fine. And they are not all success stories. So the impact remains. And this is the ultimate result of that impact.
Roshan ma'am, my next question is also to you. We are a huge, huge country. And while we could have these discussions in Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, and these metropolis, this problem is now we get calls from fathers who are from sometimes villages also. The mother has left. Strangely, these days we are seeing a lot of these cases which are born out of adultery. So the mother has taken the child and she's with somebody else while this person is, and they don't even know what to do. Forget about they being told कि कोर्ट जाने का भी कोई फायदा नहीं है क्योंकि कोर्ट तो हमेशा माँ की ही तरफ लेती है. There comes my question, ma'am. Parental alienation syndrome. Do you think हमारे courts इसको scientifically आज समझते हैं? उसके accordingly अपनी judgments में कोशिश करते हैं या अपने orders में कोशिश करते हैं कि बच्चे के साथ ये ना हो?
See, the thing is, we have thousands upon thousands of cases. Every judge in every court has got, say, 3,000 to 4,000 on his or her file. It becomes physically impossible for the judge to understand everything threadbare when 2 lawyers are only speaking. It takes a lot of time. And therefore, these cases are best resolved outside the court. Everywhere we have been feeling that, not only in India, even abroad, even in jurisdictions where there is not our kind of crazy areas. But there are areas. And that doesn't happen then. So it is good that lawyers rise to this occasion. And if lawyers don't rise, there are going to be mediators who will take over. Now we are educating mediators in our universities. So when a young person comes out of the university, he becomes a mediator. And the first and the best mediation is in family court matters, Then you go to the commercial matters and international matters and all of these. But each of these matters is different. I do it everywhere. So it is that the courts are not, I would say, in a first-class position, not because they don't know, not because they don't feel, but because for lack of time, they can't give that time that the child needs, deserves, and wants. It takes time and you have to have it. Now, for example, I got one mediation where there are 2 doctors. Now, because they are educated people, I thought I'll deal with it differently. Of course, the basic principles are there. But mediation is not by the book. What I did was, I realized that the lawyers are not attuned to child welfare. They are attuned to client welfare. They feel that the client will go away. It's not always so. So therefore, there must be some third party, who will say, no, this is the balancing factor. Now, I made a PowerPoint presentation of 1 hour for parenting, equitable parenting and child alienation. To the 2 parents, the 2 lawyers, and there are 2 juniors who are going to be seniors one day. And both the parties realized. Today, the boy goes to the father himself. I said, you be on WhatsApp, you be on whatever, and you talk to your father just as you talk to everybody else. And the father gives this gift, that gift and all. For what is the reason? That way. So, he's going to be a lawyer, by the way. He is in Jindal University. I don't know what kind of a lawyer he'll be. I hope he'll be a lawyer who will take care of both the parties in this kind of disputes, as he should.
Roshan ma'am, very, very straightforward point. especially to a lot of us, because we come from the field of law. We had guidelines passed way back on arrest. We then had Arnesh Kumar guidelines. Recently, with efforts of people like Jatin Katira, Arijit, Dr. Rakesh Kapur, we have finally got guidelines by the Calcutta High Court. Roshan ma'am, do you think that it is, and while there are guidelines, there's nothing that if you don't follow them, then there could be a penalty. Do you think it is time that just like we had Arnesh, we need some intervention where guidelines are issued, where the judges are bound to follow them?
It would be nice if they are bound. It would be good that they come themselves to get bound. It must come from within, you know. This is not a straitjacket formula. Every case is different. You have to, like I told you, I made a PowerPoint presentation in one case, you know. It's like that. So again, the time factor is also important. The judge has got so many matters on his board. But parenting plan is a very good thing because it will do away with many other things, many applications which needlessly come at the time of Diwali and Christmas and all that, you know. So it's once and for all laid down. And in the beginning, I think judges should be amenable to the fact that, yes, they will, in whatever way, flexible way, nothing can be rigid in human matters, you know. They sort of refer to and make a parenting plan. Now, the Telangana High Court has made a parenting plan just last week, last month or so.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And that is for that case. It is not a parenting plan for all cases. So, given that flexibility, the fact that there should be a parenting plan must be there. It also depends upon the maturity of the two lawyers. That yes, we'll sit down and we'll work for the welfare of this child. And not only show the client that I've got some upper hand or something like that. These are not matters for that. And therefore, right in the beginning, the family court was not to have lawyers. But we said, yes, we'll have lawyers because the lawyers agitated and all, and why not? But those lawyers must have that different kind of approach, you know, for family court matters.
Thank you so much. That was so enlightening, Roshan ma'am. And I think I will just take it from there to come to Dr. Rakesh Kapur. Parenting plan, and I think the lawyers need to understand is where exactly Dr. Rakesh Kapur's work comes. His organization, Bamboo Tree, has done extraordinary researches on these issues: child custody conflicts, impact on children, impact on parents. And although we are a little short of time, as always, we were in conference also, sorry, Dr. Kapur, but he has amazing research done where all the stakeholders in these issues were a part of, and the outcomes were very, very shocking. In fact, one thing that struck me when I was interviewing Dr. Rakesh Kapur recently for my podcast is that it is easy for family of criminals to have a video call with them when they are in the jail, whether that's a murderer or, any heinous crime, than for a father to see their kids. And it is just so heartbreaking. I've myself spoken, ma'am, to a young boy falsely accused of rape in the jail. I applied today and tomorrow I was on video call with him and I'm trying to help him in that case. And when he said this thing to me, it struck me and I was shocked. I said, yes, it is so easy to actually talk to a person who is inside jail, but it is so difficult to talk to your own child. At least 6 months, you forget it. So Dr. Kapur, my question to you is, please take us through some of the most important findings of that research. And if you could also share and comment if our courts today are actually working in the best interest of child or not.
So obviously, so one of the words that we have coined is what we call as 4 out of 5 children are going through who walk into the family courts today. This is our survey finding based on lawyers, judges, including Supreme Court, High Court judges, survey findings. 4 out of 5 children who walk into the family court system suffer from what is called as parentectomy. Just the way appendix kharab ho jata hai, so what do? We remove it. That's known as appendectomy. Just the way आपका gallbladder खराब हो जाता है, what do? We remove it. It's called cholecystectomy. Similarly, what our courts are doing, they are removing one parent as if that parent is a gangrene. 4 out of 5 children, 79% of all children who walk into come out of it semi-orphaned. And let me now tell you what does the research say of what is the outcome of these children. 40% of them, by the time they become adults, commit suicide. 55% of them suffer from personality disorders. 35% of them become drug addicts or alcoholics. 60% of them go ahead and get married and divorced and alienate their own children. So we are talking about a generational trauma that is happening. The outcomes of children, and this is a documented research on 6,000 children. I was speaking to Dr. Chawla earlier and he told me about this thing. The American Psychiatry Association has done this study. 6,000 children were studied for 10 years. And they found these alienated children have outcomes worse than even sexual abuse of children. These children suffer through their trauma, which is worse than even sexual abuse of children. Now, if that is the case, what do you think? Is our judiciary doing it right or not? And now, anyway, should I come into the next?
I'll come to you, Dr. Sonali. From academic experience, and you have looked at this issue from a very global perspective, which international jurisprudence, which global jurisprudence do you think has actually got the best interest of child right? And which international shared parenting models do you think India can learn from? If there's anything else from the researchers that you've done, Dr. Sonali, you may as well add them as well.
Yeah, just adding to the context that we are talking about. First of all, it's always good to look at the Western models and comparative foreign models. But I also think that our own Indian jurisprudence, which has evolved through judiciary, I beg to differ, but I think judiciary through like series of landmark cases, they have let down very good ideas with respect to, this shared parenting model that we are talking about, starting from, Vishaljeet Union's case from 1990s, 1980s. We have had this idea, best interest of child. We have also given this idea, besides as best interest, parents patria jurisdiction. That is something very indigenous. We have lawyers community here. We can understand that idea, parents patria jurisdiction, which is the idea that the state becomes the guardian of the child. The state, proposes ideas how and mechanisms how to promote the welfare. So I think parents patria Indian jurisdiction, that particular approach needs to be, given effect. In your work itself, I saw that we are talking about, law commission's report and other things which, that also comes from the idea of parents patria jurisdiction. Somewhere, as you said in the beginning, that it is not really working out. And how do we implement these judicial decisions? So somewhere I think that somewhere some SOP or some guidelines, because even the guidelines, in order to be given effect at the grassroots level, need some mechanism, some instrumentality, some authority. Either we need inspection, we need monitoring. For example, how we have in adoption, some kind of, there is a check, there is a social audit kind of a thing. So I think some mechanism, SOP needs to be formulated. That is one approach. And now if we really think of comparing with the foreign countries, from our research that we have found, and in our institution TISs that I come from, we do a lot of comparative legal research. So in that, we have found that mostly in the Nordic countries, or the European countries, so to say, they have a fantastic model, and most of their cases, they have a shared parenting model. Around 40, 42, 43% of their divorce or separation cases, they are actually coming out with a shared parenting model. It is not one at the cost of another. One of the major reason is not because only the judiciary. I think it is their policies also which support it. For example, having a parental leave, which is gender neutral. That is very supportive. Now in India, if we come and use that kind of a patchwork, but do we have that kind of a leave policy for men to support and to play the role? That we don't have. We say that, this should be there. So Western European countries, if you see Sweden, I think 43 or 44% of the cases are only in divorce cases shared parenting model. If we look at the Japanese scenario right now, one of the G7 countries, and we are talking about Viksit Bharat and so much of G7 and all these deliberations, Japan has recently amended, I think in 2024-26, around just 2 years back, I think, where they are saying in the civil code also that they need to have mandatorily shared parenting model as a idea to be given effect, and the presumption should be in the favor of shared parenting model. But for that, I think we need to have such kind of policies. We need to even have accommodative workspaces. We need to have alternative, care arrangements which should be available across like gender, like it should not be just for female, that maternity leave and other things. In India, the big problem is childcare leave also. For example, we have to struggle a lot if we have to take, besides maternity, childcare leave, for supporting the education of children, if the children are sick and other things. So, and we cannot think of childcare leave at all for male in India. Paternity leave itself is a very restricted idea. So I think first let's also talk about the policies that we have at the workplace.
Do you think our policymakers are actually yet as concerned as they should be? Because Dr. Kapur, I'm seeing a lot of young kids have just the problems that we cannot even comprehend. I know a young boy of 7 years, he has stopped speaking because he's not getting to mingle with his father at all. He's such a recluse child now that he just will hide behind. I've seen it myself, I've seen the video. And the child used to be so bubbly, so expressive until 2 years ago. We have tried to get our voices heard in the parliament. All the people, Jatin, Dr. Kapur, they have tried. Anubhav Mohanty, former member of parliament, also said something about this. But I don't think, Sonali, that the policymakers are still realizing the seriousness of this. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think, there's a lot of need for sensitization on these lines. I think we are still somewhere looking at the whole perspective on family where it comes. We are always looking at mother, father. We are not really becoming gender neutral. We are somewhere shy of saying that co-parenting. We don't use the word like co-parent or, spouses. We always have mother, father, and we then apply very restricted rules to mother and restricted rules to father. And we also need, I think time has come that we need to see that parenting itself has to be shared responsibility. First, it has to, start from there, that it is a shared responsibility. Somewhere also we need to understand the child is also an independent being. If you look at the whole idea of best interest of child, it comes from, United Nations Child Right Convention. Now, in that convention, very importantly, one phrase is there: evolving capacities of child must be respected. Now, evolving capacity of child to be respected, that means that child's individuality has to be recognized at different stages, from infancy, adolescent. And in India, either we are child and we are parent. We are not really giving the space for adolescent. So I think these perspectives need to be seen. Family to be more gender neutral. We can use gender neutral terms. I mean, I think sometime back, Supreme versus Union of India, the court did not guarantee the changes that we sought in the family personal laws, that mother, father, husband, wife should be replaced with the word parent and spouse. That could not be done. Then we are also talking progressively about evolving capacity of child, which is in UNCRC. And India has, ratified the treaty, United Nations Child Right Convention. But we are really not giving that kind of a space and recognition to what is the evolving capacity of child. Ma'am was saying, sir was also saying, they want both the parents. But I think we are not really giving them that kind of a space to be recognized an individual at different stages. Yes.
I'm going to get to a rapid fire round because we are running a little late in our first session itself. I'm so sorry. Yeah, sure, Dr. Kapur, sure.
There does seem to be this opinion here that the push for shared parenting, child rights, needs to come from the policy perspective of the government. But we've studied this, because I've been doing this for the last about 14 years now, right? I've studied and I have colleagues all across the world. Not one place has the push ever come from policy. it has always come from judiciary. So when it is the judiciary which must, I apologize for saying this, but we cannot shift the blame away and keep playing the finger pointing game. The judiciary points to the government and the government points to the judiciary, and the judiciary and together point to the society. That's not
That
a
is so
game.
true.
That's not
That
a game that we can play.
And the only
as
one
of
suffering
now.
there is the children. Nobody
Yes.
is thinking about them, actually.
Yeah.
I am going to do a rapid fire. These very two important questions, and I would want you to be very brief. One is, and my mind is absolutely boggled when I see POCSO charges leveled falsely in matrimonial disputes and child custody disputes. I've interviewed Kaushalendra ji in Delhi. He fought a false POCSO case for 3 years. You know what the allegations were, ma'am? That the father sexually abused the child within the court premises in the visitation room. And the police registered that FIR, charge sheeted him, and he was tried for 3 years. As obnoxious allegations as this, and the police will just raise their hand, say, hum kuch nahi kar sakte. And now it has become so ridiculous, ma'am, now that police is informing the father in cases that we have and we counsel, ma'am, where the police is telling, aapki wife har jagah pe ja rahi hai, ab next aapke upar POCSO aayega. And ma'am, there is no, in Kaushalendra's case, and that's where my question, rapid fire question to all of you is, if the court is cognizant of the fact that this was a false POCSO case, and now there have been just too many, do you think that it is an absolutely right ground to shift the custody of the child?
We cannot come to any conclusion when there is a case unless there is evidence that is given and unless there is a judgment. So the expression that the court comes to the conclusion is wrong. We don't come to any conclusion. Yes, we know that there is not as much of sexual abuse of a child by the father as is made out in family courts. They say 1% or so, but then 13% are those kind of accusations. So judges know about it. It is not that a judge will take him to task or any such thing. But change of custody is not for punishment. Custody of the child must be with both parents. Both parents must together bring up the child. That is what we call joint custody. And when you don't have it, you have it for this much period and that much time and all of these things, so that is given. Because there is this allegation is not the reason that the father will not meet the child, or that the mother says that I must be and the police must be supervising him and all that. That is not countenanced by the courts. Okay, because we know that allegations are made, but they are not proved. And when you cannot prove a murder, how can you prove this? So, until it is proved, it is not taken. There is an allegation, that's it. I know in my counseling now, a father against whom these allegations are made and he has not been able to meet and he wants to do, and these things are there. It is bad, it is sad. But when the court case will be taken up, it will be seen. And he will get access rights, he will get contact, etc. Okay.
If I may just follow up, in spite of you saying Section 21 and 22 of POCSO clearly stating that the person needs to be punished, I have personally seen, my survey has shown 1 out of every 5 child custody dispute has a POCSO case in it. 20%. That's huge. We are talking about almost 1.5 lakh such false cases every year. And yet, out of Section 21, 22, in spite of being there, I don't know of a single judgment. Do you know of any judgment where that false accuser has been punished?
I will in fact,
please. He can be punished when he is convicted. He can be convicted when his case is heard, and then there is a sentence. He can't be punished because somebody makes an allegation.
I will ease this conversation a little bit more, Dr. Kapur, and this is the last question. Sorry, we are absolutely out of time. Yesterday, a lieutenant colonel of the Indian Army had a order from the Delhi High Court to celebrate the birthday of his 11-year-old child. He had 2.5 hours in the Delhi High Court. He had taken cake, he had taken sort of all games. He was looking forward to this like anything. The mother did not bring the kids, and I must share, this is the 41st violation in the last 2 years. 8 contempt petitions this father has filed, and ma'am, there is no consequence. That was my only question, ma'am. Should the courts now come to a point where there is consequence?
As soon as this matter will reach, an order will be passed. We have got 5.5 crore cases or whatever that statistics is all around India. And therefore, as I told you, 3,000 to 4,000 for each judge. The case may not be heard. It is a very sad thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is not it's a bad thing also.
Yes, ma'am.
We are not saying it is okay.
Yes.
But you see, that applications will have to be heard. So many applications, if you make, the courts will also have to hear so many applications, and it will take that much of time. So for every little thing you make a petition or an application is also not the right thing to do. The right thing is to sit down, 2 lawyers, 2 clients and the child, and make a kind of a parenting plan. And that requires maturity, not law.
Yeah, that's true, ma'am. So, Nari, is there any serious consequence internationally that you see that either of the parent, if they flout the orders, then there are actual repercussions? As much as I know, there are very serious, but what do you think is the need?
Yeah, so one of the things which is there is that there is usually, even in India, there is a monetary compensation, there is a police arrest order also which happens, if there is violation of the court order. For instance, what ma'am was also saying, when there is a breach of maintenance order, when there is a breach of visitation order or custody order, generally police arrest and warrants are also sought in such cases. I think it has happened in some few of these cases.
I would say very rare.
It was like this, that the mother was not getting custody at all. The access also at all. The father took the child and put the child in some boarding school in Gujarat, which was rubbish actually, nothing great. And the mother did not have, and suddenly the child has gone away. I called the child. In my court, I handed over the child on 6th of September 1989. That case I have written in my book. So we just take it and we give him. So, and then there is nothing like you send him to jail only. You cure that problem at that time.
I think we will wind up with these issues. All the issues that we are going to discuss today are very contentious. But I would only say, few days back, there was a woman who reached out to me. Her name is Akanksha, and I must acknowledge her. She's a mother. She's divorced. And she said, Deepika, my child has a beautiful bond with his father and a beautiful bond with his grandparents also. I've never deprived my child to have a very healthy bond with my ex-husband and my ex-in-laws, because I think the most important thing that a mother can do is not to harm the child in any manner whatsoever. And to deprive him of his father and the love he gets from there, I think would be wrong on my part. And they have a beautiful shared parenting. Like Dr. Kapur also said, and I think the crux of this is, honestly, it requires a lot more maturity on the side of the parents as well. It is not about mother, it is not about father. And let me share, there are a lot of mothers who are suffering as well because of parental alienation. There are a lot of mothers as well who cannot even see their kids. Majority is fathers, there is no denial about that, but there are mothers too. And like Sadhna ma'am said, this is one issue that also requires, and like Roshan ma'am said, this is also one issue that requires Ekam Nyaay, equal justice for mothers and equal justice for fathers as well. With that, we will wind up this session. Thank you. Yes, Abhijit. And everyone, please do go through this book. This is absolutely amazing. I laid my hands on this just few days back. Written by Roshan ma'am. बहुत ही प्यारी book है. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah.
It is only fitting that we invite Jatin Katira, a crusader for child's rights for the last 15 years, who has been instrumental in getting shared parenting guidelines implemented in Indian courts, to honor our panelists with a small token of appreciation. I request Justice Roshan Dalvi to also felicitate our panelists.
Can we give a big round of applause to Jatin as we have him on stage? His organization has been working tirelessly. The guidelines that were framed from his organization are actually being used in a lot of courts. But like I said, I think there needs to be a, like Arnesh, it is mandatory. So probably there has to be some mandate in following the guidelines. Thank you so much, Jatin. Roshan ma'am, please give a token of appreciation to Dr. Rakesh Kapur and Sonali ji, please.